Well, here we go. Right. Everybody always wants to know, so I'll just come out and talk about it now. Ben, do you take steroids? What do you take? Yes, I take steroids. This is not a video to promote people using steroids. It's not a video to tell people what they should take, how much they should take, all that stuff. This is just me telling you guys what I use because I said I'd be honest. Okay, so currently I'm using 500 milligrams of testosterone a week. I'm using 400 milligrams of equipoise, Boldenon a week, and I'm using 375 milligrams of Trenbolone a week. I'm using 50 milligrams of Anavar a day and 25 milligrams of Proviron a day. I'm not a high dose guy, never have been. I use what I need to use. I am not a big guy. Why do I use steroids? Because they are fantastic at maintaining muscle and giving you that extra ability to actually train hard, especially in a calorie deficit. What people don't really grasp is that, when they see a guy or a girl who's in good shape, someone with extra muscularity, who's really lean, they go, steroids. And it's like, well, yeah, do steroids give you the ability to have a better physique than a person who isn't? Yes, they do, absolutely. But it's the mechanism of how they work. Steroids aren't helping you shred your fat off. That's you getting up at 6 in the morning and doing your cardio. That's you weighing your food, cooking your food, eating it, and staying in a deficit. That's you not binging on the shit you want to eat for weeks. That's what gets you ripped and lean. I've got lean, I've got ripped on no steroids before. What was the difference? I weighed about 10 kilo less. When you are dieting, if you want to get down to extremely low body fat levels and you aren't using any kind of steroids, you're going to sacrifice muscle, and probably a fair bit. Depending, if the leaner you get, the more muscle you're going to lose. Some people are able to get in great shape and maintain a very good level of muscle without. But there are always people in the world that are, for the best part, freaks. There are lucky people, genetically gifted people. They still work their asses off. Don't get that confused. That's not like you're gifted the ability to get in better shape, but it just means that they don't have to do the things that nearly everybody else has to do if they want to look the same way. And that's what that is. As I get nearer the end of this prep, I'll be adding different compounds in, changing doses and things. So you'll see. Some of my doses come down on certain things. I'll explain as I go. I'll explain why I do that and what I'm doing. So there'll be no smoke and mirrors there. I'm also using. It's not a steroid. I'm also using if you know anybody who's got type 2 diabetes, you might have heard of this. It's called metformin glucophage, and basically it just stops your blood sugar spiking. The benefits of that to someone like myself who isn't diabetic is basically that if you have high blood sugar and you don't use the blood sugar in your cells, it gets stored as fat. So it helps you not add fat, especially when you're having extra amounts of carbohydrates. Things like refeeds, things like that, it comes in quite handy. It's very good. Why do people misunderstand steroids? Why do people not know a great deal but think they're terrible? Because of the way they're reported, because of documentaries that are on the BBC. They always pick a bunch of numpties that probably shouldn't even be allowed out, let alone should be taking steroids. They don't train properly. They're not watching the diet. Nothing is in place for them. They should not be using drugs. Yes, steroids do have side effects. Generally, side effects are dose or person dependent. And what you do is when you start using them, don't go in at the deep end. Assess yourself. Have regular blood tests. Make sure that as you're putting something in your body, that you're healthy. Everyone always feels healthy until there's a problem. So think about that. If you're going out every weekend getting pissed up, drinking, and then you're smoking as well during the week, most people, let's be honest, have something else they like to do. They might like to do a bit of Charlie, a bit of sniff, whatever you're doing. If you do all that and think that steroids are the bad thing, then there's some mental issues there. So, you know, you've got alcohol, drugs, and tobacco all at the top in terms of the killers of people worldwide, and steroids are down in the basement, like literally down in the basement. Oh, but what about all these bodybuilders that have died? Bodybuilding is as healthy as it is unhealthy. You know, you have some people that will always push the envelope. Some people are not genetically gifted, so they will smash 4 times as much gear, drugs, and it's not just steroids. You know, things like when it comes to show, there's diuretics, people take insulin, there's growth hormone, there's all kinds of things, and a cocktail of drugs that you are pushing into yourself to just try and get that extra edge, especially when you're a very large person, is going to have an impact. You just, you know, if you're competing against a guy who's taking a quarter of what you're taking and you're not looking better than him, you are in the wrong game. You should not be doing this to your body. You know, you should not be putting that amount of drugs in your body and expecting there not to be a problem. Let's think about this. Everyone's heard of Mr. Olympia. You know, that's what Arnold Schwarzenegger was when he was competing. Of all the Mr. Olympias of the last 50 years, ever since it started, only 2 have died, and they were 71 and 75. Seems pretty normal to me, and these were the top people at bodybuilding in the world at their time. You know, it's the same. People die. People get ill. You know, I've lost friends to cancer at 21. I lost my cousin. She was 32. Breast cancer, brain tumour, lung cancer. You know, people get ill. You know, if you are silly with drugs, you increase the risk. But if you want to do something and not want to be caught out by potential problems, go to the doctors, have blood tests, find out. Chances are, and I'm going to say this open and honestly, chances are if you're taking steroids responsibly in doses that are not silly, the chances are you are not going to have any problems. But you could, so get checked out. Don't be an idiot. And don't listen to your mate Dave down the gym who said, oh, I'll take this much, I'll take a gram a test this week. If you're taking a gram a test and you aren't a pro, or you don't have a pro physique, then your gear's shit. Or your diet's shit. Or your training shit. Probably all 3, let's be honest, probably all 3. I have a notes here, because I was going to go off on a tangent. Right, here we are. Some people ask me some good questions. Are steroids illegal? In this country, no. They are not illegal to buy, to have, to use, but they are illegal for the person to sell them to you. It's a very grey area. But basically, if you want to use steroids, don't worry. You're not breaking the law by buying them or using them. It depends different country to different country, so check that out as well. Like, for instance, as well, importing them. I came back from Turkey a week ago. Now, in Turkey, it's legal to buy them over there, and obviously it's legal to have them over here as well. You can bring them back with you, but there is a cap, but it's not a written cap. It's a grey area. There's no actual, like, restricted amounts. It's a 3-month personal supply. What is a 3-month personal supply? You know, to a recreational user or to someone who's competing, who weighs 20 stone. And this, you know, it's you've got to not take the piss. You've got to use your common sense. Don't bring back a suitcase full of gear, because it'll get taken off you. Simple as that. Side effects. Well, we kind of covered that. But the main side effects of steroids are going to be, you know, spots, increased blood pressure. It all depends on what you're taking. Obviously, trenbolone is the daddy, the one that can, if you're dieting as well and you're on trenbolone, it can make you very irritable. It can make you very annoyed. But night sweats as well, you know, that can make you very, you might not get much sleep, insomnia. But these are all things, if they crop up, I've had on-off symptoms and times I've used it before. If these do crop up, I'll talk about it, you know, not a problem. Ben, would you ever take synthol? Oh god. You know, 99% of me is screaming, what the fuck is it? Why would I ever take synthol? Why would anyone ever take synthol? And then I look at my biceps and I sort of go, but no. No, I would never take synthol. Synthol is not a steroid. You've probably seen people online with this. They basically look like someone's inflated an air tire in their muscles, and they look like fucking idiots. That's idiots using synthol. I get it has a place. I understand it has a place. If you are, say, on the top 15 of the Olympia and you have a fucking perfect physique, but your calves aren't quite up to standard, aren't quite there. If you've gone that far and that's the only thing there, putting a bit of synthol in your calves to bring them up. If you can do it so you don't look like a dick and it doesn't look out of place, I understand why someone would use it, but it's no amateur bodybuilder, no fucking person who's not a fucking pro at a top level should even consider using it. Okay then, that covers everything I need to put in now. It'll get mentioned again in various points, but I think in conclusion, what people need to grasp about dieting and prep, muscle building, bodybuilding, whatever it is, whatever you're using steroids for, is it is such a small part. It's like one ingredient. It's such a small piece of the diet pie. But you look at the factors that are most important. You know, if you don't, you've got training, yeah, and food. If you don't train, you ain't going to get in shape. If you don't eat the food, you aren't going to get in shape. Those are the two main things. And then you've got the things underneath, like rest, recovery, all that stuff. Steroids, if you take steroids away from the pie, the diet pie, you're still going to get in shape. You're still going to get in very good shape, as long as you work hard. That's it. But you take the other ones away, and you get nothing. So it's a small part of the pie, and there's other things that are much more important. But because you end up seeing someone looking very different to a normal person, I think Joe Public sort of just has to point the finger, oh, they take steroids. And I don't know what they get out of that. I don't know what, does it make them feel better? But I don't know. Oh, I don't want to look like that. Well, you got some bad news for you. If you want to look like the way you want to look, which is toned, or abs but not big, and all that kind of thing, you're going to have to eat like a bodybuilder, and you're going to have to train like a bodybuilder. You want that nice ass? Get squatting. Do some weights. That's how you're going to get that body you want. But I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. You won't look like a bodybuilder because you're probably not going to take steroids, and you're probably not going to go as far with your diet. So you're not going to end up looking like that. You don't have to do it for 16 weeks to get to the way you want to look. Once you get there, you can maintain. You do not have to go to the silly calorie restrictions that bodybuilders and prep athletes do to actually get the physique you want. You just have to get off your ass and do it. Any questions, guys? Hit me up. I'll reply. I always reply. Anything you want me to cover in future videos. And the next video is probably going to be about either supplements or food. Woo! You're so lucky. Bet you can't wait. It'll probably be about food because my supplement stack is looking a bit barren at the moment. And it's not going to be very good for me going, yeah, I take this, I take that. Yeah, I love that shit, yeah. I can't show you it because I don't have any. Cheers, guys. See you soon.